With the 4th through 6th episode, we finally see a conclusion to the current story arc, which I guess you could call the Oniguma arc. But yeah, absolutely similar to what I was feeling in the 3rd episode. Just the portrayal of this particular story arc and what the studio is doing with this story so far is absolutely fantastic. I got so kind of teary-eyed, especially towards the later part of this. So yeah, full-on spoilers at this point to episode 6 of To Your Eternity. I can finally now point out, yes, the spoiler that I was, or at least one of the spoilers that is in the intro is, and of course, the fact that March ends up getting killed due to an arrow to the back, or to the side, technically. I guess you could say the back, but yeah, this is the first thing I noticed in there. There's a ton of other ones in that intro, and again, I'm not going to really mention them now because it's spoiler to people to point out what these things mean. But I think it's more of a issue of once you know what characters are in the intro, you see what the spoiler is, and I guess people were just, it's such a quick snapshot. I guess there's actually 2 shots in the intro of March being shot and lying, and then of course Perona sobbing over her. It's pretty darn apparent it's not really kind of dancing around the fact that yes, March ends up dying, and that was my frustration. So people know that's one of the spoilers in the intro. There's several other of them. Again, I guess you can chop it up to you don't really know until you meet the characters. But once you meet the characters, you're going to know what's going to happen to them, and that's the unfortunate thing that I see in the intro. But putting that aside, that's old news. The 4th through 6th episode, again, absolutely fantastic portrayal. So much emotion in there. I got choked up several times. One was the point in which we kind of learned that it seems like this being, which is called Fushi now, this being is able to almost... It's left up to interpretation, but essentially Fushi's able to mimic their emotions after being, I guess, stimulated by them. So with the case of the bear, he obviously is able to... He keeps saying he hurts, he hurts, he hurts, he hurts. And it isn't until March takes all the arrows out and dresses his wounds that finally the bear, and it seemingly through Fushi, says, thank you. Like he's finally able to rest. He no longer is in pain due to what March did for him. And equally to this, during this time of their imprisonment from the other town, he's kind of gaining emotions and feelings for March. He obviously is. She's almost impressioned on him as almost like a mother figure, and he's gaining emotions through her and a desire to protect her. And obviously later on when they get attacked and March gets struck by the arrow, Fushi just freaks out and almost takes on like a protective sibling thing and just goes nuts on the village itself, or the town, you'd probably call it. But yeah, just so much heart, so much emotion. It is, and like I said, it was so beautifully adapted. Like again, and the whole scene where March kind of is dressing the bear and Fushi tells him thank you, and the bear passes on. It's just this bit of emotion that they were able to portray in that scene. The scene where March gets killed and you have Fushi going nuts, and the entire time you have this whole flashback of her when she first meets March being alone, Perona being alone, them almost creating almost a father-wife kind of thing, or dad and a mom kind of thing between the two of them. Absolutely adorable. Obviously, Perona being, essentially an outcast due to the fact that she was once chosen and her sister protected her and was sacrificed in her place, right into their past and everything that kind of connects everything together. The sequence of sacrifice and how that affected Perona and how that affected March. Absolutely, like I said, beautifully portrayed. Now, I think my favorite part is for sure the point in which Perona is gonna, she's like, I can't do this alone. I'm gonna go with you, and she goes to sacrifice herself. And as March is playing out to her, no, don't do it. Fushi is the one that reaches out and grabs her and has that same March face on his face. It's just, it was so good. I cannot express how much I am loving this adaptation and how they're portraying Fushi, how they're portraying his emotions, what he's gathering from these people. And again, that implying that people are almost like the dead are able to speak through him, which, yeah, you can chop it up as him technically just taking on their emotions and thus acting as if they would in that scene. Him being impressed on March, he's able to act like March. He would have the same feelings March would in that particular moment, almost like they're mimicking the mind as well. But there's still the implication that he's able to speak for the dead as well, which is, equally as emotional, if not more. So, yeah, totally fantastic. Love it to death. And yeah, that was something similar in the manga itself. It definitely hurt my heart to kind of see this brief viewpoint of March as an older self. Because obviously the entire story of her and her possible sacrifice is her desire to want to grow up. She wants to grow up. She wants to be a mama. She wants to be older. There was a whole thing with the coming of age thing at the very beginning when we first met her. One of the girls was coming of age and how she was so jealous of it. And she just wanted to get to that point. And seeing this quick glimpse of March as an adult was, again, another thing that you can see in the intro, which I don't think is spoiler. It would be very hard to draw a conclusion that was March in the intro, but you could also get to see it animated there as well, and it just kind of makes that scene all the more impactful. Seeing how she wanted to do that. I was always curious, and this is something that's not going to be confirmed or denied for the manga itself. I was always curious if we can get to a point where Fushi would be able to, I guess, mimic aging, and we'd get to a point in which Fushi would mimic March as an older adult, which would be interesting. I guess it wouldn't technically add anything to the story, but it would be kind of a you wanted to see her grow up, you wanted to see her be happy, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But maybe, like I said, I haven't read the whole manga, so I don't know if later on that would be a thing, but it would be. I just wanted her to be happy. I just wanted her to be happy. Following this, of course, we get a little bit of travel with Fushi. Parane tells Fushi to flee because this village is still chasing after him, and Fushi comes across the old shaman, which of course was the prisoner that was faking as a shaman in order to bring down the village. And this is when the old lady starts teaching him words, and so Fushi is starting to learn languages. He learned how to talk. And that leads into the old lady eventually asking him his story, like, where is he from? And he's like, he doesn't really know. He met a boy. The boy fed him. He became the boy. The end. That was his story. And we also had the fight between Fushi and the unknown being, because the beholder, obviously still watching Fushi, eventually realizes something has entered his garden, as he says it. This little area that he is raising Fushi in, this other unknown being has entered, like another beholder is what we're assuming. But another being similar to Fushi enters the area, stabs Fushi, starts, I guess, extracting those that were impressed on him. So the first case, he stabs him. The boy that he is mimicking gets drawn from him. He no longer remembers him. He no longer remembers the smell of him. The beholder comes to him and says, he's taken something from you. You don't know what it is, but obviously you know it's important. I'm going to make it simple for you. That's your enemy. Kill it, essentially. So they have this really long battle where this other being essentially draws every form out of Fushi, and eventually till he gets to the point where all he has is March left. And just seeing March just jump around and go crazy on stuff and jump down there and grab it, so agile, is really awesome. But yeah, it takes it down. And it was funny because the beholder's like, he's like, who are you? And the beholder's like, I'm the thing that I made you. We're going to stop the world from ending and basically retain the world as it is, prevent it from, I guess, destruction. And as the old lady comes up later, she's like, what happened? Are you okay? And he's like, I don't know. That was weird. Just that's all Fushi says. That was weird. And he has a big smile on his face. I love how alien he is. It's so fantastic. But yeah, of course, at the very end of this leads into the next arc. Fushi arrives with the old lady to the old lady's husband or lover, and in this place, it's a brewery, and we meet. I guess it doesn't mention his name. I think it mentions it in the outro itself or the preview, but This Gugu guy, which is this masked guy. I think that's how they're pronouncing his Gugu. It might be Juju. I think it's Gugu though. But Gugu, this is the arc. This is the one I'm looking forward to. So looking forward to this arc, and this is so funny. I'm not gonna spoil anything that's happening. I will say that I did not like the mask. I hated it so much when I first met Gugu. I was like, "What is this character? This looks so stupid." But yeah, I am super excited for what's coming. I won't say anything, but this next story arc is the one I'm looking forward to. And like I said, I know in the manga I wasn't looking forward to it initially. But after this adaptation, after knowing what the story is, I am super, super excited for it, and I cannot wait for other people to experience it. It is going to be fantastic, but yeah, super hype. And I think that's probably a reason why I might hold off on doing any more impressions until the arc's over, because I don't want to say a single thing. I want to keep my mouth shut. I don't want to slip out anything. But like I said, I'm super excited for this, and I cannot wait to see how they adapt it. Really, is what it is, because this is an arc they can do some incredible stuff with. I'm curious how long it will end up being, because I think this last arc ended up being longer than I thought it was, or at least what I remember. But yeah, good stuff to come. Really excited. Again, fantastic adaptation, great action scenes. Perona was amazing. I think Perona is one of those characters where that's how you do that's how you write a good character, a strong female character. She seemed like she was still technically weak early on. She is emotional, but then you see her driving force. You see her in action. She was a total awesome character, and I love her to death. So I'm already missing Perona even after a couple minutes of watching this last episode, or that last episode. I was already like, man, I already missed Perona. They need to bring her back. But yeah, excited for more. Definitely amazing. Again, that's To Your Eternity for episode 4 to episode 6. Hope you guys enjoyed my impressions and me geeking out over this adaptation. But again, looking forward to more. If you did like this video, please leave a like down below. Share it if you can. Comment. Let me know what you thought. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I thank you all for watching. And y'all take care.